Hello, this is Thomas from Univox. We have a new feature uploaded to the Univox Loop Designer. If I can have your attention for 5 or 10 minutes, I am going to walk you through it and show you how that works. Uh, we're going to be working off a 10 by 10 meter area just to make this simple, but the design obviously works for any size area that you need it for. I have gone ahead and uploaded a grid as background to make it easier for us to see how this works. So this is not part of the feature. So go in and we have a new design. That's the new feature called a perimeter flex. Perimeter flex loop is a perimeter loop that we can use for L-shaped, T-shaped, or U-shaped rooms. Um, it's still a perimeter loop, but for certain types of uneven shaped areas. So we're going to go ahead and select that. And by default, this is going to come up at least while you're in a 10 by 10 meter working area. Uh, Up here is where we do our adjustments. So this is our working area. It looks slightly different to what you're used to. Uh, we have the name of our figuration. We know that one since before. Here we can choose our figuration. But we're working on perimeter flex, so let's leave it at that. The orientation I will get back to you soon, and segment is says 2. And this is the whole trick to it. When we do this, we think of this area as segments. So right now it's set for as 2 segments. So the first segment here is here on the left, and the second segment is here on the right. And the way it works, this is where you control your segments. And the important areas are these these first 4 columns. So the first segment has a starting position 0 on the x-axis and 0 on the y-axis. So that's down here. And the segment is 5 meters wide. So we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is where it ends, and it's 10 meters long. So it's a 5 by 10 meters segment, and the other segment starts at 5 on the x-axis and 0 on the y-axis. So that's here, and this segment is 5 by 5. So we have 2 segments, one which is 5 by 10 and one which is 5 by 5. But in difference to a figure 8 where the cable runs along each segment, now the cable is just going to follow the outskirt of these segments. So we're setting up segments for where our cable will run along the outer rim of the segment, if that makes sense to you. So to illustrate, let's start with the length of the segment. So if I add a couple of meters to this segment, so that's the bottom segment, that's our right segment here, so I'm going to make this 7 meters long instead. And that's what happens. And then you'll notice that controlling the length of the segments is much easier than the width of the segments. But saying that, it's not too difficult to work with the width of the segments. Also, just as long as you understand the logic behind how this feature works. So going into that, so if I now want to make this segment 4 meters wide instead. So this is where I control the width. So I go down to 4, and if I now try to save, I will get this. And the reason is because I tried to decrease the width of the segment without changing the other segment. So all of this needs to connect. So if I just makes this segment 4 meters wide, it will not connect to the second segment. So again, I subtract a meter from the width of that segment. So I'm making the segment go along here. So what I need to do is move my starting point for the second segment from here to here. So I go into my X position for the second segment and make that 4. And if I now click save, voila. You did notice that the whole thing just moves over to the left. If I still want the segment to go all the way out to the outer rim of the area, all I need to do is add a meter to the width of the second segment. And that takes us to there. So now I have two segments, one which is 4 meters wide and one which is 7 meters wide. I can, if I want to, add a third segment. I do that. I'll go back to my layout. You can just to so that's what I need to do. I'll do that. So now we can clearly see that we're working with 3 segments here. One starts at 0, 0 here. The second one starts at 4, 0, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 0 here. And the last segment starts at 7, 0, so 1, 7, 0 here. Now, if I want to make this indent from the side instead, all I need to do is to flip this around 90 degrees. And that's where the orientation comes in place. So right now, we have, where it says orientation, we have an arrow showing from left to right. So that means that our segments are lined out in a vertical position from left to right. What we want to do is we change the orientation and do that. And now we have 3 segments on top of each other. So we have 3 horizontal segments instead. I'll just change the length of one of these so we can see it more clearly. So first segment starts at 0, 0. It is 8 meters long on the x-axis, which is this one, and it is 3.33 meters wide. So it goes up to here, and they're all equally wide. So let's try to we'll fake a design. So I will go ahead and change the background, and we'll start over. So we're back. I've uploaded a new background, so we are going to create a design which follows the outskirt of the colored area. So I go in, I pick a perimeter flex design like so. I want to flip it over, change the orientation. There we go. And I need 3 segments. So I add one more segment. There. Now I have 3 segments, just so I can more easily see them. I will change the length of one of them. So the easiest way of doing this, I think, is the first just to adjust the length of each segment. So the first one here needs to be 9 meters long. So that needs to be 9 meters. The second one needs to be 4 meters. And the last one should be 10 meters. There we go. Okay. So that takes care of the length of our segments. So now to the widths. So the first one needs to be 1, 2, 3 meters. So I'll take off 3 meters, and again, just to prove the point, that's not going to work. I need to do the width of all segments, and I need to adjust the starting point of all segments uh, so that all points connect. So go back again. So first needed to be 4 meters, 3 meters. So here we're working on the y-axis, 1, 2, 3. So if that's 3 meters wide, then the starting point needs to be at 3 for the second segment, right there, and the width of that segment is 1, 2, 3, 4 meters. So change that to 4 meters, and so now these two segments in total are 7 meters. 1, 2, 3 plus 4, that's 7. So the starting point of the last segment is 7 on the y-axis. They all start on 0 on the x-axis, and it's 3 meters wide. And there you go. And from here, just as with any other design, we can go into the three-dimensional view. We can have a look at the two-dimensional view. We can have the combined view. We can see our data. Go back to our layout. Do one more thing. I'll start a new one. I won't bother about the background for now. Just do the primitive. And we talked about doing L shapes. This is obviously an L shape. We can do U shapes. We can do T shapes. We can even do, if I move this up, I just adjust the length. So there. So we can do, well, we can call that a Z shape. So that's possible too. Okay, so now you understand the logic. It's not too hard to work with, but it's one extra thing that you need to do compared to the other designs. So log on to your user accounts, go in, have a play around with it, and I'm sure you'll get the hang of it very, very soon. Thank you.